Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I want to talk a little bit about emulation and whether it's worth it to buy these emulation machines or, to maybe just stick with buying the original consoles or, there's so many of them out on the market right now. It's kind of hard to almost avoid them. Like, they're everywhere. And I've been putting off buying like the Atari one for a long time. Now I do have the Flashback Portable, which I've shown in a few videos, and I use this quite a bit, mainly because of the portability of it, and obviously, but it can hook up to a TV, and it's great because it's got the SD card, so I can actually put more games on here than what actually came with it, because I felt that the games were kind of lacking on this thing. If it didn't have that SD card, I don't even know if I'd want it, to be frank. And the TV out option is pretty cool too, to be able to like put it on your TV. And so this came in handy quite a bit. And but the bigger system, the Flashback itself, I've always kind of avoided it. And it was mainly because of the games. I think the selection of games were not the ones I really wanted to play all the time. They were missing a lot of great titles, mostly the Activision titles. So I finally picked this up. I kind of cracked and I finally picked this one up. It's the Flashback 8. And you see it's got Pitfall on there right off the bat, one of my favorite games on the system, and a lot of other great titles from Activision, and so that's why I picked this up. I'm not new to the Flashback scene. I did buy a ColecoVision 1, a while back. I actually did a video on it. One of the first few videos I did, I think, when I started the channel, just to talk about it after I bought it. And it's actually a decent system. I don't mind this one. I mean, I had a little bit of problems with it. Some of the, sometimes I'd plug it in, it wasn't working right, or I don't know. I just had the odd issue, but nothing serious. And the remote controller is actually decent itself. I mean, it's lightweight. The original one was heavier, bulkier, and all that kind of stuff. I kind of talk about that in the video as well. But the main thing I want to talk about is it worth it to pick these things up? Because I've been struggling with the idea. Why would I buy one when clearly I have all the games that I want for Atari? I have, even the ColecoVision. I have a lot of games for the Coleco. This has more than what I have though. So this one actually made sense because I don't have all those ColecoVision cartridges, and it would be quite expensive to buy them all. But the Atari one, I mean, like I said, I was avoiding it because I pretty much don't care for most of the games on there. I mean, they're okay games, but they're not the ones I typically play with. This one has it. I mean, this one, they got it, a lot of the real classic games that I enjoy playing. Especially the things like Hero. I mean, that's a rare game, and for a lot of people don't have Hero. Even Pitfall, and any of these like Jungle Hunts on here. There's so many great classics that were missing off of the previous Flashback systems. And I just figured that, even the controllers that it came with, and that was another thing that I kind of always avoided, was some of the other systems, like I think the 7 had the wireless controllers, which I wasn't too crazy about. I don't know why. I like the wired controllers. And I think I like it because I'm pretty sure I could use these on a real Atari if I had to. Let me just take one out and kind of show it to you. It uses the exact same pins, so it's like that. And I got my other Atari. This is a real one. It's heavier. This is obviously sturdier. But it's the same pin. It's the same thing. It plugs in. I'm pretty sure it works. The only thing I noticed though, that this one, the Flashback one, it's very, very loose when you're playing. I mean, it's just like, it just flies back and forth. This one has a little bit more, it's a little more tight to push it back and forth. And I don't know. I'm curious to see how playing some of my favorite games, if this is really going to like make a difference. And the other thing is, this system has Kaboom on it, which was one of my favorite paddle games. I don't have paddles with this. It didn't come with them. But I have real ones. And I've yet to try them on this Flashback system. I mean, I plugged it in, I tried it a bit, and Kaboom was almost unplayable with that. controller. So, you know, I'm thinking maybe I should plug it in and give these paddles a try, because these are real ones as well. These are back from the Atari days. I believe this is made by At Games, so I believe they actually also have paddles. I think there's like different like deluxe versions or something like that. You can get paddles with it or something. I don't know. I can only get what we have in our store, and the thing is, I'm in Canada, so finding these things is not. They're not in every Walmart, and Toys R Us, and all the other stores. You got to find them in like the more specialty stores, or you got to find them in like this. I bought from Bed Bath and Beyond, which is, you know, the last place I'd ever think I'd be buying video game stuff. I guess it's part of the Beyond section. But yeah, I mean, I thought about it. I'm like, so why would I buy this? Because it's about $50 after taxes and everything else. And is it worth it? But the other thing that I thought about was I can keep this as something I can plug in, say, upstairs. Now, my man cave is downstairs. All my video games are downstairs. Say I want to actually just sit down in my upstairs on my couch and actually play some Atari. And I used to do this, and what I used to do is I used to drag all my games up there as well. Not all of them, but I had a whole suitcase full of games that I would just crater up there, and then I'd be able to, you know, change cartridges. But since I've changed my setup, and now I actually have them all in a shelf, I'd have to actually pull a ton of games, because if you play Atari, I mean, well, not everybody, but if you play Atari, chances are you're going to be swapping out games. You know, it's not like Nintendo where you put one in and you play it for like a very long time. Usually you're swapping them out. I mean, there are some dedicated players out there that will play Miss Pac-Man or something like that for a good hour or something, but not me. I like to switch games out. I find the Atari games are very simple, and some of them, you know, they're looping and stuff. You get tired of them or whatever, so it's great to swap them out. With this system, I don't have to do that. I mean, I can just plug it into my TV upstairs, and I got 150 games that I can just, you know, go, you know, choose which game I want to play, whatever mood I'm in. And it's got a 2-player option. One of the things that this thing didn't give me, the controller, I didn't like the gamepad feel, and B, you can't do 2-player with this. So at least with this you can. But it is missing the SD card slot. Now that would be awesome if this thing, the flashback, did come with an SD card slot. I know a lot of people have been modding. They mod the system. They put in a card reader, or they mod it to try and get a cartridge slot to work. These ones are a little trickier though, because they're more emulation. The Flashback 2, I believe, used real actual Atari style hardware, so you can actually put a cart slot in it. But still, you're back to we need to use cartridges now. SD card, you can put all your games on one card. You can put in the entire Atari library on one card. So it actually makes sense to have this. And I thought about this as well. I'm like, well, I have this. I could always just plug this into my TV upstairs. But like I said, you're running off of this gamepad, which I don't really like. I like the feel of a real joystick. And you can't play with other people. And so like games like Combat, I can play Combat now with my daughter, you know, things like that. Otherwise, I'd have to drag my real Atari up there and hook it up to my TV, which is like a big, huge, you know, flat screen TV, which is what most of us have. In my basement, I have the old CRT style. That's what I hook my real Atari up to. So pretty much all my videos that I shoot are done on that old TV. So it kind of makes sense. But yeah, so really, I just wanted to talk about this because, well, there's other downsides too. I mean, the power cable they give you on this thing is very short. So I'm assuming they think you're only going to be like, you know, a few feet away from your TV. I had a real difficulty plugging this in because my setup upstairs is a big wall unit, and the power is like way over there, and even the video audio portion, this wire is very short too. It feels like it's like less than 5 feet, and I had a hard time plugging that in, and you know, this literally had to be right in front of my TV, and I don't like to sit that close because it's a big screen TV. So I guess that's where the the wiring and all that stuff for the controllers was a problem. I guess when they first made a lot of these wireless, that was the reasoning, right? They know people's setups are a lot different than they were back in the 80s when you had your real Atari setup. you'd have like a 30-inch screen and you'd sit right in front of it. So I mean, there's some downsides to this. I know there's USB, or not USB, sorry, HDMI versions of this flashback. There's like deluxe versions, but this is the only one that I was able to buy in the store without me having to go online, finding one of the other ones online and then having to order it. And I don't really care about the HDMI aspect of it. I mean, this is fine for me, the audio video. Now that's a downside as well, I guess, is when you're talking about emulation, you don't get the exact same picture you would on the original console hooked up to a CRT. And I've seen a lot of these kind of discussions about, hooking these things up to a big flat screen 4K TV, even with HDMI. I believe even the talks about the Retron 77, which I haven't heard any buzz or anything about, and I did talk about that in another video, and that's supposed to be a system that can play actual Atari cartridges, and it's HDMI. So I've heard things like it doesn't translate properly to the screen. You get, it doesn't, it just wasn't designed to be on a screen of that size. And so when I plugged this in and I was playing it on my big flat screen, I started to notice that the details were a little bit off. Things were a little bit off. So, I mean, but really I could live with that. I mean, it's okay. It's still better than if I were to try and create my Atari upstairs. Plus, I don't want to keep unplugging it. I got everything plugged in here. I don't want to keep unplugging it. And one more thing to throw in there. I mean, this is so light, you can literally take this on the road with you. You can go wherever you're going. If there's going to be a TV there that has audio-video capabilities, you got now 150 Atari games you could play on the road. You can go to hotels. Some of the hotels have TVs that have the audio-video ports, and you got Atari on the road with just this little thing and a joystick. I mean, that in itself is cool. I mean, sure, I was mentioning this, which I did bring on my last vacation, but it would have been even better to be able to play in the hotel room, when I felt like playing a video game, rather than staring at this little screen, watching, trying to, play a game. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's got its pros. I think there's a lot of good reasons why you should consider buying these systems. And it's not like people are not buying them. I mean, people are scooping up the Nintendo one, right? The Nintendo Classic was all sold out before they even hit the shelves. People were hawking them online for crazy amounts of money. The Nintendo Super Nintendo one is currently out today as I speak. It's, you can find them. I'm seeing people finding them in stores, but it's still scarce. But people are still buying them because they want to play these games. They want to play these classic games. They don't want to have to go out and buy a Super Nintendo and buy all the games. And, it's very convenient. So I personally think it's worth it. But like I said, I had to wait till the right one to come out. I didn't want to buy any of those previous flashback systems because, frankly, there's just no games on there I wanted to play. And I like to play games. I don't want to just buy it to collect it and put it on my shelf. I've seen people do it. There's people on Facebook, they show their collection. They have pretty much every single flashback. And that's cool. I mean, if you like collecting that, that's great. Put it on display, say, hey, I got every single flashback. But I don't see the need for that. I think I waited for this one. But who knows? Maybe the next one's going to be even better. Maybe they're going to give you the card slot. Maybe we're going to be able to, who knows? The sky's the limit on these things. And the popularity on them just keep going up and up. So I think it's worth it to at least pick one up if you're into retro gaming and you've been considering it. Because it is actually pretty decent. Doesn't look too bad either. I mean, it emulates the old style Atari. It's all plastic, of course. This isn't wood grain. This is a sticker. And the buttons, yeah. I mean, that's something that could have been obviously improved upon. The original Atari didn't look anything like that. It had the nice metal buttons and stuff. I don't know why they decided to make them look like this. It must have been a cost-saving thing or something. I don't know. People have talked about this, but yeah. I mean, other than that, I mean, you can get past that and still make this thing work for you. I would say, though, maybe I need to get an extension cable for this because this is kind of annoying that it barely reaches the back of my TV. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to talk about this for a little while. I'm planning on doing some videos with it, you know, playing some of the games on it. There's a few prototypes in there as well that I didn't mention that you don't get on, like, in cartridge form. So that's a plus as well. And so maybe I'll try and play some of those and try these paddles out, see if I can play Kaboom. Whatever I can get out of the system, I'm going to try it. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think about the flashback system or any of the other plug-and-play systems. I know a lot of people are on the fence. Some people say they're garbage. Some people say they're awesome. There's people out there that are console purists and they can only play on the real console. I understand that. I totally respect that. But, I mean, for me, this just seems like a lot of fun, even though I have the original. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe to my channel. Talk to you later.